Hello and welcome to It's Tea Time. Joined this week back in the seat again is John Hartwell, the athletic director here at Troy University. I'm Jonathan Sellers. Well, a busy week for you last week as you were in Dallas meeting with the ADs at the ADs meeting. What was the news coming out of there?
Yeah, it was a real productive couple of days of meetings, and again, it was all of the FBS ADs. I think of the 127, there are 123 were in attendance, so very well attended. A lot of pertinent topics right now, including NCAA governance, what that's going to look like going forward, and certainly a significant part of that, the voice of the AD and how that plays out, as well as conference makeup, what the structure is going to be. Are the that rumor out there about the BCS schools breaking away from the rest of the FBS program. So it was very productive. I would say there's a consensus, one, that the BCS schools are not going to break away from the other FBS schools, that 127, 129 institution group is going to stick together. There's certainly value. We all recognize that there are differences in Alabama's budget versus Troy's budget, and there are some different issues, but there are also a lot of commonalities between the two. Obviously, pay for play is a very hot topic right now, and whether it's the $2,000 cost of attendance number, but that pendulum has actually swung back some. You had some, I won't call them rogue, but you had some individuals say, hey, I don't have money for meals and I'm being exploited to be a college athlete. What I like seeing is the fact that a lot of both current and former student athletes have spoken up and said, no, that's not right. You're on a meal plan and you get a stipend if you live off campus for your apartment and your meals. And if you don't have the money, then you've gone and spent it on something else. Right. And from some of the former student athletes, and I know I was fortunate to be on a 4-year scholarship. When you look around at your peers when you're 32, 35 years old, and some of your peers who did not have the good fortune of being on a scholarship are still repaying student loans, and you don't have that debt, then certainly there's a value there. So I think that pendulum is swinging back some, but certainly a lot of productivity out of the meetings.
That's something like a topic we could probably go on for a whole episode about, but we'll have to just leave it at that for today. But a lot more to talk about. I'm sure you got to make it up to Durham for that game against Duke, and just another close one that a few plays here or there.
Yeah, it really was. And coming off of the previous week at Starkville, which I think anybody involved would say was an absolute train wreck and not indicative of our football team in any way. We did battle back against Duke. Still some things we've got to work on, and certainly our football staff is working diligently on that as we speak even. But a lot of good things to take out of that Duke game, and certainly we went toe-to-toe, and it came down to the final drive. Unfortunately, we're down 35-31 with about just under 5 minutes left in the game, and Chandler Worthy makes a sensational run after the catch and about a 60-yard touchdown, and it gets called back for really a questionable holding call that was nowhere near the main focus of action. So, but those things happen, and certainly we've got to regroup. 2-3 now, but really going into the meat of our conference schedule, and certainly homecoming coming up. We've got South Alabama, the rival, who certainly has kicked it up a notch. Had wins on the road against Tulane, at home against Bobby Petrino in Western Kentucky, and went up to Tennessee last Saturday, got down 31-7, and had an opportunity to tie the game late in the game. So we've got our work cut out, but I think it's going to be a great homecoming atmosphere, large crowd, and we'll be ready to go.
I know we've talked a little bit about it, but the game time is a little earlier than people are expecting, or they're used to. Give us a little update on that.
Sure. Noon. I think it's actually a 12:07 kickoff. It's on the Sunbelt Network on CSS across the Southeast. A lot of activities going on before the game. Got a 9 o'clock downtown homecoming parade. The band will be at the front of that parade instead of the back of the parade as they normally are. They'll go straight from the parade to Trojan Walk, and a day full of festivities, and really kicks off Thursday. We start with home soccer at 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. We've got volleyball Friday evening. We've got a pep rally. We're changing the location of the pep rally for this weekend. It'll be back in the old stomping ground, if you will, Sartain Hall. At 5:30 on Friday, so a lot of activities around homecoming with obviously the focal point, the football game against South Alabama.
Well, and something else has kind of become a tradition at homecoming is the baseball team having their annual alumni weekend as well as their Hall of Fame ceremony. That's going to be Friday as well.
Yeah, Friday evening they'll have a brief induction ceremony, 7 o'clock. I'll be there for that event, and followed up by an alumni game. So some of those guys who hadn't donned the leather or swung a bat in a while are going to get out there, so that ought to be fun to watch as well.
Hopefully we won't have too many elbows thrown out or anything like that.
Exactly.
Never know. Basketball team's also gotten their season, or their practices underway, both teams, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, both the men and the women have gotten underway in practice this week, and both very excited. Coach Shanda Rigby entering her second year, and the inaugural year for Coach Phil Cunningham, so both staffs are excited. We have rolled out our season ticket brochures. You can go online to TroyTrojans.com, or you have possibly gotten it in the mail. One of the things we did this year in terms of our season ticket pricing for basketball was to roll back the price a little bit. Obviously a huge price increase last year going from Sartain Hall to the new Trojan Arena. We listened to the feedback of the fans, tried to make it more affordable, and all the way from our club level seats, which were $500 last year, down to $400 this year. That includes your seating and some concession voucher as well. All the way down to our cheapest season ticket price, if you will, is the family 4-pack of general admission seats, which are $200 for that 4-pack, so it comes out to $50 per ticket. So we certainly wanted to make it affordable for anybody and everybody who could has an interest in our basketball programs, and certainly they're going to be very exciting this year.
Well, and just going to the basketball games is always a great family atmosphere. It's inside, don't got to worry about the elements, and just a great time with the team, hopefully a great season ahead. So always a great atmosphere there.
Yeah, it is, and I know there are still a few folks out there who hadn't gotten the opportunity, even though it's a year old, to go into Trojan Arena. And like you say, Jonathan, we want the product on the floor to be entertaining and enough to keep people coming back, but certainly the atmosphere around it, the variety and concession stands, the video boards, the music, everything, it is a great opportunity for a family entertainment.
So once again, a big, busy weekend ahead with homecoming. Can you just give us a quick rundown of some of the events going on?
Sure. Starts with soccer Thursday afternoon, 3 o'clock for those folks coming into town. We've got the pep rally Friday afternoon, 5:30. Baseball alumni at 7. We've got volleyball at home against Lafayette at 7 on Friday evening. Saturday morning, get up early, get downtown for the homecoming parade at 9 a.m. and then kick off versus South Alabama 12:07 on Saturday.
Well, I hope to see everybody out there for a big homecoming.
Great. We look forward to lots of Trojan victories this weekend.
All right, and thank you for joining us. All right, and stick around for more coming up on It's Tea Time.
I was looking for something that if I had to take online, I could still take it, but I wanted that personal touch that Troy offers. I needed to be able to work around my schedule because I still support my family full time, and I needed to be able to be flexible, and Troy met those needs.
On campus or online, Troy offers you an extraordinary education with the flexibility you need. Troy University. It's all you need to know.
My name is Jeremy. I am a criminal justice major with Homeland Security. I needed to reinvent myself, and I chose.
Gave up, just couldn't dig ourselves out again. And unfortunately, in a conference game like that against a competitive team, sometimes you get yourself down, it's hard to get yourself back into it. We did create chances, though, and it certainly wasn't a game that was lopsided one way or another. It was very back and forth, competitive, and I think that's where our conference is going to be all year long.
Is sometimes those closer games are tougher to take than a lopsided loss?
Yeah, it's tough to swallow, especially I think for our girls. We didn't come out, whether it was nerves, whether it was being younger and coming into that kind of deer in headlights. I don't know. It might have been a little bit of just being complacent too. But we were a little flat at the beginning of the game, and you just can't do that, And it is tough to swallow when you get out of it, realizing, geez, we should have got a result.
Well, and now you're going to be back at home this Thursday against Arkansas State. Is that going to be another tough one?
Another tough one. I think they're competing for a high seed, upper half of the conference, may potentially win the conference. So we've got to come out and play again. And I don't think there's any reason we can't go out and compete with them and beat them. But we've got to come out and play a complete game, and we can't be flat. You can't give up an early goal and try to dig yourself out.
Now you start a stretch of 3 straight road games on Sunday as you head up to Arkansas Little Rock to face the other Trojans of the Sun Belt.
Yeah, and they're no easier task. I mean, they've been competing very hard. They just actually, with Arkansas State here this last weekend, played a real close game where Arkansas State had to come back in the last 5 minutes of the game. So, I think the whole conference is going to be a challenge, and there's no change here this coming Sunday against Arkansas Little Rock. The other challenge is they play on turf, too, so it's a new thing to try out, and it'll increase the speed of the game, and the speed of play.
All right, Coach Wolf, thanks for joining us this week, and hopefully some good results this week on the pitch. All right, and stay tuned for more on It's Tea Time.
We graduate passionate people who are excited about their degree and about their profession. Hospitals, facilities, they want Troy graduates. From undergraduate to nurse practitioners, Troy nurses are sought out.
Troy offers you an extraordinary education and a degree sought after by top employers. Troy University. It's all you need to know.
I'm Kelly. I'm a nurse practitioner. I have my doctorate from Troy, and I'm a Troy Trojan.
It's tea time, and after a week off of competition, the head coach of the cross-country team, Jeff Jenkins, is joining us to talk first about the Georgia State meet, which you performed pretty well at.
Yeah, we're happy with it. The women raced first of that meet. They raced 4K, which is another distance they're not used to, really. But it's a good gauge to see where we are against the competition. I think Julia was our top girl once again. She finished. We nominated her for Sun Belt Athlete of the Week. She missed it by just a few votes to a Georgia State athlete who beat her in that race. But she beat all but one Georgia State athlete. They're the reigning conference champions right now. I think that girl beat her by 3 spots. So it was very close on that side, followed by several more Troy athletes. We put in a lot of people within a short period of time, which is good to see. We were very close to Georgia State again. They edged us out once again, but we're getting there. We're getting a lot closer to them. Same projection. We have 4 freshmen in the top 5 and Julia being a sophomore, so that went really well. The men's race as a whole I wasn't too happy with. They raced 8K. It was hot and dry, especially by the time the men started their race. But times are awful. Times are really bad, but in those conditions sometimes you have to expect things like that. And the course they ran, they had to run 4 loops over and over and over again, so it was kind of tricky. But they did beat some good people. Some other people in the race fell off. We beat some individuals from schools like Auburn, and we beat some schools. South Alabama had some people there. We beat some people there. It was overall a good meet. Tim Bolger really stepped up, and he led us through the race, number 1 guy. So in 3 races, we've had 3 different guys be our number 1 guy so far.
And despite what you said was not the best race, Tim Bolger had an honor in that race.
Absolutely. We nominated him for Sun Belt Athlete of the Week, and voting went to the coaches, and he just blew everybody away with his nomination. Everybody voted for him. He had pretty landslide victory on that for him, going from finishing 5th in our first meet at the Trojan Invitational to finishing 3rd at South Alabama meet to finishing 1st on the team for the Georgia State meet. So he's got a lot of confidence right now, and I've mentioned his name several times before in the workouts. He's been looking really good in the workouts, and ironically, he comes on late, and that's what he's doing right now. So it's good to see him doing very well this late in the season.
And that Georgia State race was a week ago, and now you've had this whole week to prepare, really 2 weeks to get ready for this next one coming up, which is one of the bigger races that you've been a part of since being here at Troy.
Definitely. It's something that the Greater Louisville Classic, it's a meet that I've always known about. It's been prestigious. When I was in college, we ran at that meet. So I wanted to give our athletes an opportunity to come and see a meet of this magnitude. 200 schools divided in 3 different divisions. Some of the best schools in the country are going to be there. The course is pretty fast. People are going to be able to run well. Training-wise, last week was the highest volume week of the entire season. It was a very difficult week for them. A lot of people struggling to make it through that week. This week that we're currently in is very low volume week. It's a down week for us, so it's an opportunity for them to get some super compensation and recover and get ready to race on Saturday. So timing is great. We finally have our top 8 on both sides. We're not leaving people out of this meet. So we have a full squad. We're racing true distances. The men are racing 8K. The women are racing 5K for the first time this season. So everybody is very, very excited about this meet, including myself, and we're ready to get out there and race well. We're going to see, there's going to be 5 Sun Belt schools at this meet that I know of off the top of my head. It'll be us, Georgia State, Western Kentucky, South Alabama, and Arkansas State. Georgia State being the reigning women's champion, Arkansas State being the current favorite in the Sun Belt on the women's side, South Alabama being a top 5 Sun Belt school in the rankings right now. So some really good competition is an opportunity for us to step up and run very well.
And going into a race of this magnitude with so many schools, some of the better schools around the country being there, what do you tell your team to make sure they're not overwhelmed, especially some of the younger people?
Well, you just got to calm them down. Our sport isn't all about hype. You can't stand on the starting line and get hyped up before a race, because your race for the men and the race is going to be somewhere around 30 minutes long. Mm-hmm. So it can be difficult to keep your calm and keep your composure, but you got to tell them. Oftentimes I tell them in the workouts to find the race in the workout, and now I have to tell them to find the workout in the race, and so that they can take that and know that they've been in these situations before and that they can cope with it. They'll know box assignments for certain schools, so they'll be able to find South Alabama athletes if they want to find South Alabama athletes. And everybody will kind of have an assignment and a goal for that particular race, and just execute. Just execute, do what you do every day. It's easy enough.
Now, we're coming up on right out of a month from the cross-country championships that are going to be held here at Troy. What are you looking for from your team in the next month?
Well, we're ready. We're ready to go. We're in a very exciting time. We're getting ready to start peaking in our training. The volume is going to start dropping. And for us, that's the most important part, is not necessarily racing your fastest time early in the season, is to be able to continually progress throughout the season. We have a lot of people that are shooting for individual goals, all Sun Belt teams, and that's going to directly affect our team goals. We want to have, on the women's side, we want to have the best finish Troy has ever had in the Sun Belt. On the men's side, I think we can tie the best finish that we've ever had in the Sun Belt and maybe even beat that, depending on how we race that day. But once again, our sport is very predictable, so it's hard to sit there and say that we have a chance to win it this year. But with the squad we have, really young, I think we can see that in the next couple of years. But, everything's looking great, gearing up towards those last few regular season meets and then the championship season.
All right, well, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you next week about the Louisville Classic.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned for some volleyball here on It's Tea Time.
Troy has given to me so much more than I ever anticipated, and it creates that desire to keep doing something better. There's a perfect opportunity to get involved. Troy has many organizations here on campus that just give you the opportunity to find your niche here, to find your home, to find your passion.
On campus or online, Troy offers you the hands-on experience you need to pursue an exciting career in communications and journalism. Troy University. It's all you need to know.
My name is Liz. I study broadcast journalism at Troy, and I am a Troy Trojan.
Back for our final segment on It's Tea Time, and we're joined by the volleyball head coach, Coach Sonny Kirkpatrick. Coach, thanks for joining us here this week.
No problem, Jonathan. Glad to be here.
And last week you opened up Sun Belt Conference play with a home match against Western Kentucky, a tough loss against the Hilltoppers.
It was for a bunch of reasons. Naturally, playing the reigning defending champs at home is a great thing, but we also lost one of our players for a little while anyway to a pretty good injury in the second game. So that was kind of the hardest thing of the whole night.
And then you had to hit the road on Sunday or on Saturday to make it up to Jonesboro for a Sunday matchup against Arkansas State, and that was a tough 5-set loss.
It was. The only thing that really, I see progress, and that's the great thing. We did some really nice things. Had the lead late in the fifth game at 12-10 and just couldn't finish it out. And we've challenged our players this week in practice to make sure that we can get over that little hump to get a close win. It would be great. So, we see the light at the end of the tunnel. The team sees it, and they're really confident going into this week.
But this week is kind of going to be a tough one in its own. You're going to be on a string of 5 matches in 9 days, including last weekend's matches, starting this week, Wednesday, against South Alabama.
It's going to be a tough match. South Alabama's our rival, so we always want to play our best and perform our best against them. I like the way our team has been working in practice, and we're looking forward to tomorrow night's match.
And you'll be back at home this weekend for 2. You don't have to travel on Saturday. You'll be home Friday against Louisiana Lafayette. Talk about that one.
Well, Lafayette's a good team. They're very familiar with what we did. We ended up playing them in the first round of the Sun Belt last year. They only graduated 2 players off of that team, even though there were 2 very important players for them. But, we're trying not to look that far ahead because tomorrow night's match is really big. But, you're in conference play now. Every match is crucially important to where we want to go as a team, and where we want to kind of represent the university as we get toward the Sun Belt Championships.
And then one final home match this weekend. That's on Sunday against Arkansas Little Rock.
It's going to be really tough. They've got the reigning Player of the Year in the conference. She's averaging over five kills per game. Just an outstanding player, and we've got to try to slow her down a little bit and contain the other 5 girls on the court at the same time. So she's a great team, great player, well coached, and if we do our job, we always have a chance to win.
Well, Coach, good luck coming up this weekend. It all starts at Wednesday, as you said, on the road against South Alabama.
Yes.
All right. Well, join us next week for more on It's Tea Time.